everyone.
Woo, woo. Excellent.
Welcome to the first Bad Batch stream since 2021, I think.
Yeah.
Since the beginning of this spinoff, right?
Since the very beginning.
Was this the first spinoff show?
Oh no, there's something happening.
Uh-oh.
I need to.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. I just need to. Yeah, I'm okay. How is everyone? I see. Oh, We have an Australian here. We have an Australian in the house. 2 Australians actually. Hello, it's good to see you all. What did
Good
you?
day.
I'm assuming everyone watched the Bad Batch season 2, episode 1 and 2. It was a double episode drop.
Were we supposed to? Okay.
That's what we. Oh, I thought we were doing Boba Fett again.
Right. It was a double episode drop, and this is going to be. Here's like a little. Here's the game plan for this season. We're not going to stream every week after every episode drop. We're splitting it up. The first, 2, 3, 3, 3, 2, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So the first 2 episodes were already happened. So this is the first 2 episodes. And then the next 3 weeks, they'll just be one at a time. And is that right? Well, I'm just going to put the schedule up here. Here we go. All right.
What do you mean by one at a time?
One episode per week.
Oh, you mean that Disney's releasing it at one time at a time?
Yeah. So what I'm saying is our next stream will be after Entombed. Will be after episode 5. And it will cover episode 3, 4, 5. So, the weekend after January 25th. And then our next stream after that will be for episodes 6, 7, 8. So it will be after the weekend of February 8th. And then the next 3, 9 through 11, and then we'll do 12 through 14. And then for the finale drop, the last 2 episodes, we'll do another one. So, yeah, I think that comes out to 6 streams total. So,
Excellent.
just so you know. Well, it's been kind of a while since we've talked about the Bad Batch, and as I was watching these first 2 episodes, I was kind of reminding myself of getting back into the whole groove of it. How was the experience for you all, watching it? Did you kind of remember immediately what was going on?
It took me a while to remember what was going on, but I will say, just in hearing the Bad Batch hit, the opening hit kind of a thing that they do, and then hearing the theme at the end after watching the first episode, I was definitely kind of super excited, yes, oh my goodness, it's been so long. Forgot how much fun these episodes were. This show was.
Yes, it was
so
a little
fun.
whiplash with the score.
Whiplash.
In terms of going from Andor's approach to this show. This show is every moment is scored, just almost, right? It's every moment has this it's just so different of an approach, both maybe it has something to do with animation, maybe it has something to do with the target age, for this show, in terms of really telling you what's going on emotionally and in the scene with every scored moment. But it was oh yeah, this is what the Star Wars content used to feel before Andor kind of did a much more reserved approach with everything, I think. So,
And
it was much more. It was more classic in terms of.
Oh yeah.
How much there was.
Even coming off of what we were listening to with Mandalorian and Boba Fett and Visions, and we've just had this we've been spoiled with all this different and always genre bending music that's kind of been thrown at us, and then coming back to being oh right, this is the Clone Wars, Star Wars, the orchestral themes, and John Williams kind of picking at kind of a style again. So yeah, I agree with the whiplash statement.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It reminded me of the audiobooks a little bit. It reminded me, it kind of had that feeling of like, okay, somebody has a library of all the Star Wars music, and they're gonna put like any opportunity to pull it in, they're going to, and then they're also going to compose some additional materials. In addition, in terms of differences with Andor, I feel like there was so much more synth music in Andor, whereas with this, it was as you said, a lot more acoustic. Uh,
Yeah, which
I
is
did
interesting because
I did feel like there
season
was a
one,
lot of
I feel
synth
like,
in this.
Was
I
well,
there
thought
it
maybe I
didn't
just
But it wasn't the
it didn't
focus. I
kick in
agree with
until
you,
the second
Christina.
episode
Yeah.
as much. The first episode
mm-hmm.
was much more like traditionally orchestrally scored than the second episode.
Mhm.
It was like, because I remember us commenting on the first season and saying that the Bad Batch feels like an amalgamation of of traditional orchestral music mixed with like heavy synths, and like even the Bad Batch theme has like a mixture of those sounds, right? It has that like
Mhm.
like B section in it. It has those big brassy synths, right? So and yeah, so I remember like we got a long ways to go, I think, in this season for them to be putting.
Yeah.
I remember them just feeling like the first season they used like the kitchen sink of sounds on that score. Like it was like there was like synth, there was like classic Star Warsy sound stuff, there was like crazy source music, there was like remember that random like drum set fill in that one episode that we were talking
Yeah.
about. I remember it was like there was like the factory where it was like these crazy like
in Bad
80s.
Batch. Oh yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yep,
I
yep,
just
yep,
I
yep, yep,
think
yep.
well I'm now like I said, whiplash. I'm like readjusting to like the Kevin Kiner like kitchen sink approach to the Bad Batch score. It's like every possible genre and instrument and sample that you can use are in these shows. So
I'm
Yeah, and I agree.
interested.
I agree with like even what Christina was saying with like here's the library, and not
yeah,
just for the music,
yeah.
but for the sound effects. I've started a list of like the classic Star Wars sound effects and when they appear, kind of like stuff we're used to. And it's like we'll talk about this later, but like after Andor, even going out of their way to like make the blasters sound different. Here we just went
Yeah.
back to a little bit of like, okay, same sample, pew 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 pew, hit it every time that we need it, kind of a thing. Um, and
That's
I'll go
true.
over all.
How much
I've got a little.
does
Well,
everyone have
actually,
stun?
David. No, actually,
Does
David.
everyone have the stun sounds like memorized to a T now?
Yep.
Like if I hear that
Yep.
I'll be able to sing that sound in my sleep. How many times they use that stun sound effect in this
Oh yeah,
episode.
we'll talk about that later too. I've got
For
that set
sure.
up around here somewhere.
Anyway, sorry
Although
that you
David
were
W.
jumping in.
Collins did tweet or like did tweet some things like in response to other people, and there have been some changes.
Oh yeah.
For one, let's see. He said the DC15 pistol sound from Republic Commando has been added to the Batch's pistols in season 2. If they modded their armor between seasons, they definitely modded their weapons, he says.
That's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool.
So,
Yeah,
video
I did
game-
go back and listen to there's like a montage on YouTube of all stun sounds in
Nice.
Star Wars. And I did go back and see. I wanted to hear a New Hope sound, and it's significantly different. It's not as zappy, the original one. Like this one is much more. It has more like a. It's like you took a little page out of the Maul lightsaber from Solo: A Star Wars Story and threw a little bit
Yeah.
into the sound into it.
But it's still got that classic like, wobble to it.
Yeah,
kind of a
whoa, whoa,
thing.
whoa, with a. Yeah.
I had a favorite weapon sound, which was Wrecker's in the second episode when Wrecker uses the battery from that ship to create that huge blaster E-web. Wasn't it? I want to
Oh,
see
yeah,
it.
that
That was
was-
a good sound. It was like
Yeah.
it had a whoa 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 after. It was nice. Yeah, that was.
I also love that they're like, let's set our guns to stun throughout these 2 episodes so that we don't kill anybody. But then they're also like, what if Wrecker has a giant cannon that he uses indiscriminately at everybody?
Except for Wrecker, yeah.
Classic Wrecker.
That's
It's in his
funny.
name.
Well, Christina, we didn't talk. We didn't, like you weren't. You didn't stream with us for Bad Batch season 1, so we actually know very little about your thoughts on the music of the show. I don't know if
It's true.
you feel free to share anything unless you unless it's like a secret that you want to reveal later.
I have no secrets to reveal.
Okay. Cool.
But I did, just kind of in the theme of what you were just asking, like how was it getting into season two, coming 2 years later, coming back from season one, and 15 minutes into the first episode, I had to stop and watch the last two episodes of season one because it frustrates me to not remember where each character is emotionally and like what the general vibe
Oh, yeah, there was
is.
no recap.
Yeah, there was no recap or anything, which is
Yeah, that's
fine
true.
in the sense that I had to do it myself.
That's true. Yeah, I guess so.
And so, and like, yeah, it was obvious. We all know like Order 66 happened and they escaped. But what I gleaned from my rewatch of the last two episodes was the importance of phasing out of clones and replacing them with the TK units of non-clone humans. And
Stormtroopers.
and I yeah, stormtroopers. Thank you. Yeah. And then right, it was like a little too PC. Uh, uh, and then
Non-clone
I believe the
humans.
term Xanthe is non-clone human. Xanthe.
Non-clone human.
yeah, there's no clones listening, getting offended that I that I don't. So yeah, basically I got that, and then there was definitely a reference to that in the episodes where that one sort of like very loyal clone who's still with the Empire, who I think it was at the end of the second episode.
Wilco,
he
right?
I love
Wilco,
how it's
yes.
named after one of my favorite indie bands from the 90s and 2000s.
Yeah.
Sergeant Wilco.
Wilco. Yeah, but I felt like that basically his superior was like, "Oh, you're not going to falsify a statement. I'm going to shoot you because
Evil.
I just felt like that was interesting that the clones have sort of like honor programmed into they have honor and honesty programmed into their
following orders.
makeup.
Yeah.
And yeah, and we see that a lot with Crosshair, and we see that with Wilco kind of refusing to falsify that report. So I think that's interesting.
I personally liked him a lot better than Sergeant Arcade Fire and Sergeant Dr. Doc. Those are
Who are you talking about?
Sergeant Wilco.
Being a
Making an indie band joke.
Okay.
Making a
But I
band I
only-
listened to when I was 18.
Jeannie. Jeannie from
hey, Jeannie.
Tahini, always bringing up like very. Okay,
Oh,
Wilco is
interesting.
military talk for
Fine.
will comply.
Oh,
Wow.
They
Okay.
are.
Nice. Thanks. Well, maybe Wilco the band is named after that.
No, it is. No, that's what she's talking about. The band Wilco is
Oh.
named after that. Yeah.
So
Not the
then, is the
clone.
clone named after the band that is named after the military talk, or is the
Or is it
clone
named
named
after-
after the military talk?
It's very possible.
Man,
Either
being
one
a
is
clone
possible.
named Wilco is like super redundant because that's the whole
true.
thing about the clone. And it's like, we're just gonna call you. It's almost like your name being clone. Like, this is Clone Trooper Clone.
Yes, man. Just calling them yes, man.
Oh, that's a good one. We haven't seen a Yes Ma'am.
What do you mean we haven't seen a Yes
Looking-
Man?
Well, it'd be like
There-
Sergeant
yes-
Yesman.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
mean like the
there-
name?
yeah, there's-
I get
We
you.
just
Okay.
call
Yeah,
him-
there's no, like,
you're
Yesman.
Sergeant Yesman or something like that.
But yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It
Sergeant
took me a
Broken
minute
Social
to tune in.
Sorry. Okay, I'll stop.
It's all right.
That was
There's
great.
so much to talk about that I'm wondering if we should just sort of jump to some musical examples, music and sound.
Yeah. Do we have
things?
Can we go back to our a classic band batch quiz sesh?
Sure. Although I'll probably have less. I don't really have
Okay,
much.
I have like one.
Because
or two.
what I have is more like I can talk about like the recurring themes and stuff, but I don't feel like there's very many like unique examples to play other than like referencing, like just talking about when certain things happened. So if go ahead, James or Justin.
Justin, go for it.
Hey, Star Wars lawyer.
Star Wars.
All right, so y'all, you might not
Okay.
be in the loop because we haven't really done this throughout Andor or the.
We
kinda
did it. We
with
did it a
Boba
little
Fett.
bit.
like
Yeah, maybe I don't remember doing a
Once or
lot of quizzes
twice.
in Andor. We did like listening examples.
I think we
but-
totally did,
No.
but I usually had the examples.
Okay, well,
yeah.
Justin
We'll
did
see.
too, actually.
So people in the
Oh,
chat, we're about to do.
ouch.
We're gonna do a quiz where we play examples and we try to guess where this happens in the 2 episodes that we watched this week. So
Okay.
typically we like to not guess the answer until everyone has like a guess in their brains. Give everybody a chance to think about it.
Okay, so I think
people
Justin's
in
going to
the
go
chat,
first.
Go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Go for
Justin
it,
will play
Justin.
something from the episode.
Okay, well, here's an easy one. It's easy to play too, but it's well, I'll play it and then you'll figure out where it came from. No. And that's the spot. I'll give you a hint. It's 2 different instruments. It's a call and an answer.
Okay.
One instrument plays the first 3 notes. A different instrument plays the second 3 notes. Like a little call and answer.
I forgot how hard these
I liked your artful decrescendos there, Justin. They
are.
were,
That was gorgeous.
yeah,
Years
Beautiful.
of classical
Very-
training. Played off, I said.
delicacy with which you pulled them off.
Can you tell us episode 1 or 2?
Okay,
Or
episode
should
1.
we
I'm
go
in- yes.
episode by episode, or should we?
That might be fair.
I'm in episode 1.
Okay, let's start with episode 1.
I forgot to get a timestamp, but it's before 11 minutes.
Okay.
It's before 11 minutes. So maybe around 9-ish.
Okay.
That
Can you play it again?
gives way too much. Mm-hmm. I'll play on like 2 different instruments. Well, no, that doesn't work.
Okay.
And another hint, the second instrument is a flute. So the first instrument that plays is something else.
Okay. Jeannie has a guess. Does anyone else
Jeannie's
have a
got
guess?
Let's see, what did Jeannie say? Is it when Omega is studying? It's not. That's a great guess, though. I think that one was our first appearance of Omega was this like. When she's studying out on the ship, like our first. Oh, look, it's Omega with her new outfit, kind of a thing.
That's what it was?
Well, no, that was what
Oh,
I think Jeannie was
that's this.
referencing.
Any
guesses?
Chief
any
/ Neil
guesses?
says, I didn't know there was going to be a test. I have no idea where that was.
Oh, we used to do this every episode. Any guesses from
Well, I'm thinking it's
the
in-
band batch? First episode.
Man, I have no idea.
I think it's in Sid's bar.
It is-
Really?
Okay.
Is that really? Is that true?
I don't know.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so no,
like
it's
it
not
has
true.
It's very
Um,
ponderous, but
Mhm.
It reminds me of the Peer Gynt suite, Death of Ace.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
It is, I
Um,
think, a little bit. Well, I'll explain why I picked this example in a second. I thought it was
Okay.
interesting.
Why don't you just tell us?
No other guesses? Okay.
I don't know. The other thing I was gonna say was maybe.
Oh, wait. Yeah.
Nope.
You got
keep
Go
it.
ahead,
going,
James.
Xanthe.
Oh no, like in the
No. I was just. Go ahead, Xanthe.
Skimming through real quick.
Is it in
My-
like the? Go ahead, Christina.
my sense is it's when the guys are talking about how they want to have a good life for what am I trying to say? It's when Sid is like, hey, you guys want to like settle down comfortably, and they're all thinking about it's after that.
It's
No?
after that. It's after that, but the sentiment
It's
is
like
the
when they're,
same.
huh?
But the sentiment is the same. Like
Yeah.
their emotional sentiment, kind of, in a way. Um,
Yeah, and
it's right after that. James, any guesses?
it's not cheating to go through and literally be looking at the.
Well,
Oh,
I mean,
oh, it's when Omega hears them talking.
yes. Yep, that's it.
Nice.
So
What's the other
we've got
instrument?
this. Yeah, it's a trumpet, playing
Okay.
really really high, and trumpets and flutes are really fun because they sound very similar if you take away the attack of the sound, to like the beginning of the sound. But this is good. It's when Echo is talking and saying we should be doing more. We should be out there. The reason we're doing this is because of Omega, kind of a thing. And you have this moment when he says we should be doing more. We get this trumpet, ba da da, which is a little bit kind of like
Yeah.
the clone theme kind of thing. So it's kind of like an homage to those first three notes, in my opinion. And then Omega comes in when we see her listening. It's this different three notes, but that same feel, kind of a thing. So it's almost like clone honor, and then curious clone honor, kind of like call and response,
Yeah.
kind of a thing. Because she's technically a bad batch clone as well, as we remember from the first season. Spoilers for those who haven't seen the first season or just jumping into season 2 with us. Sorry. But yes, that is the moment. I thought that was a nice kind of on the nose composing and scoring kind of thing. It's like, here's this, and then here's this, like very, very distinct. But I thought they played it off nice. I thought the Kleiner and team made a good choice with that one. It was nice.
How much time has elapsed between the end of season 1 and this? Because it seems like a year or something.
Good question.
It feels like a good while.
'Cause
Like
I-
they've been running
Because
missions
Omega's
for
grown
a
up a
while.
little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's a whole year because I think that the Empire would have immediately gone after Dooku's war chest. A year? Waiting a year to do that? I don't know.
Yeah, and
Can you remind
I
me
think
where the
it's
war
less than a
chest
year
was at the end of season 1?
did we know that there was a war chest in the last season? I didn't know this thing existed until...
We didn't know, but it would have to be after Dooku died, and after, I
Mhm.
mean, all that kind of happened in the same, like, week, right? Like Order 66, Dooku dying,
No,
Grievous
Dooku died,
dying,
but
Emperor
Dooku died
taking over.
Dooku died before Order 66, though. Probably
You're right. Yeah,
a
so
while.
Yeah.
a couple weeks,
I
right?
guess it depends on how
Like,
much time elapses during Revenge of the Sith.
Right.
I like just read the book.
Well, enough for
Yeah.
Padme to be pregnant and not showing, and then pregnant and showing.
Well, Omega also looks like
Oh, yeah.
significantly older in
Yeah.
this
Mm-hmm.
than she did in season 1. Like, she looks like at least a year older, right? Like,
I
does
think she
everyone agree
looks
like,
about a year older, but
she's-
maybe she had a growth spurt, and it could have been like 8
Yeah.
months or something.
Right, right, which is kind of weird.
And I noticed that even though we've kind of started switching,
Clone
the Empire
warfare.
switching over to the stormtroopers, a lot of like the vehicles are still Clone War era stuff. Like the clone transport was still kind of like, it was funny it was weird to see the clone transport in the second episode being piloted by a stormtrooper, even though they're kind of this, just a difference of helmets, but
Yeah.
I don't
Also,
know,
the Clone Force 99 didn't seem they aged very much, and they're the ones that are aging faster. Like Omega looks like
true.
she grew up.
Hmm.
She aged more than the Clone Force 99 did, where it
yeah.
should kind of be the other way around. But then, of course, she's a kid, so she could have had a growth spurt. But still, like I feel like in a year they would have aged. They would have a few more gray hairs for sure. I don't know, but it's. I mean, I
I'm
guess
gonna
it's not that big of a deal. But
Unwatchable, to be honest with you.
I guess I'm just curious because did they have any progress since the end of last season? That's
Well, that's the thing, is that there's like no character progress.
They're
They're
just
like in the same spot.
yeah.
They're still like working for Sid and like trying to find some way to stop working for Sid, you know?
I was kind of disappointed by the beginning of this season, to be honest. With
Agreed. It's pretty
especially
formulaic and pretty similar, repetitive, you know?
but it's like they didn't seem to pick up where they left off, Or I'm sure that's going to come, but I don't know why we didn't just like jump into that. Like, I don't know if there's a single person who, I don't know, would
Well,
rather
where
have
did they leave off? So they left off
talking
with
to
like
Crosshair
tossing
drama.
to Crosshair. But what
Right,
changed?
and getting
what
off of
changed in-
Camino.
They got
Getting
off
off
Camino. So
Camino.
where do you think that they should have like continued from there,
I don't know.
as opposed to? You're right. So
I
I
don't
guess
know.
the answer is that they were kind of still in the same place. They still
Yeah.
don't have Crosshair with them. They still have no, like, they're still like in danger of the Empire. So I guess it does make sense that they would just go right back to Sid and continue what they're doing.
Yeah, I
Even
mean,
though
it
it's
makes sense.
Slightly uninteresting.
It makes sense,
But-
but yeah, it's just uninteresting to have an episode where they're just figuring out how to get out of the crate or whatever. Like,
Well, 2 episodes.
yeah, exactly.
It's like it's a 2-episode premiere, but it's like basically one long kind of typical band batch
I've
mission,
been doing the
you know?
same thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And of course they don't get any headway when they at the end, like, they lose the treasure, right? That's what happened at the end of this.
Yeah.
So they're still didn't get anywhere with this, you know what I mean? So it's like these episodes kind of you could just like skip these 2 episodes, start in the next
Totally.
episode, and you really haven't missed almost anything in the show yet.
Yeah,
you
unless
know?
they like bring significant callback. Like I do feel
Yeah.
perhaps the guy that they meet in episode 2, the Serenian.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
there were some like little gems. Like I can count the gems
right,
for me on like one hand, and the gems for me were the kaleidoscope, that guy with the big hard drive of the culture of Sereno. Like sure, I do want to get into that,
Sure.
and that's about it.
I think I would add to that. I would agree with those, and then add to that the very ending of episode 2. I felt like that little sinister moment of the Empire, or somebody in the Empire, finding out that Clone Force 99 was still existing. Like that moved the plot forward a little
Sure.
bit.
That's
like
true.
the overall and then we see Wilco get shot and off the side, and what's his name, the sergeant, the
Rampart.
lieutenant,
Yeah.
Rampart, yes.
Rampart.
Yeah, Rampart is evil.
Good old Rampart.
And I shall remind you that Rampart has like a theme that's associated with him, but we didn't hear it when he was on
That's
screen.
true. And
So.
you did all that hard work
Oh.
last season to really chew up and
Document
read out
and-
that theme. I remember those.
I will
those days.
I will put it on screen, and I will remind everyone. I'll remind everyone. These are different Rampart examples from different episodes. Yep. And then. But it's that like minor triad, outline of a minor triad. And then this sort of chromatic turn. And then sometimes it goes. Anyway, maybe we'll get it more later. But
Excellent. So how about this, guys? How about
All
a
right,
real
what do you got, James? What do you got?
All right. There's no okay. My job on this show is
Sit by
typically
Ziggy.
to is
Hit
my
things.
job is usually to quiz you on obscure percussion examples.
okay,
Um,
cool.
Okay, so here we go. So where does this happen? Let me just make sure I got it in my head real quick. So it's something like this.
So obscure.
Okay. Okay. Something along those lines.
Oh.
Episode 1.
Episode 2.
Oh, okay. Does anyone know? Jonah, where's
And
Jonah?
it's less a less a clave sound, and it's actually more like a woodblock sound, but it's pretty
Okay.
close.
I paid more attention to the sound effects in episode 2 because I liked the music in episode 1 better, to be honest. So I'm thinking like, crap, where did we?
This is the
There was
first
a lot of
appearance of a
sneaking.
ride cymbal in this show. Ah.
Yeah, can you play it again? Like, I can't remember off the top of my head where it's from, but I'm trying to get into the mood of it.
Yeah. Second.
I agree that it sounded
So
sneaky.
it's very sneaky, and it's that doesn't always have the cymbal sound. Sometimes it's just. Then it's.
so delicate. Anyone have guesses? I have a guess of like what type of thing it might accompany.
I'm formulating a guess.
Okay, go ahead.
Me.
Yeah.
I'm saying, I guess the best sneaking occurred either in those cliffs above the Serenian city or in the forest
I think it's
or in the ship.
I my guess is something with Omega sneaking around. Justin?
Well, with that guess and that gasp, unless it's
Yeah, that was
misleading,
good
would it
info.
be Omega repelling back into the cargo hold?
I'm
Let's see.
thinking when Omega's looking at the kaleidoscope and deciding and sees that rope and decides to go rappel into the crate. That's where I'm headed.
So you're really close. Y'all are really
Okay.
close.
What was it?
Well, just think around. There's a little bit of it's continued when she's doing that rope. It's basically the minute they find out that she has fled the coop.
Okay.
So,
Oh,
so the minute that
interesting.
old dude and Tech and I guess Echo is in there, right? Here and you start to hear this wood block and some cymbal, and then it's the boom 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 whatever that theme is that happens there. But while that's happening, there's these nice little right sneaky wood blocks.
Sneaky.
They really seal the sneak deal, I'd say. When you're trying to make sneaky sounds, having little woody clicky stuff in the percussion section kind of brings it home. So
Yeah, that feels like a pretty classic film scorey trope. Have the little sneaky woodblock kind of, or clave. I know you're using clave in this example, or
I have a woodblock over here,
especially
but actually, like,
combined with pizzicato strings, kind of dum 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 dum.
yeah, anything that's like
It's
slightly
sneaky,
like
sneaky, sneaky.
mysterious or like like anything that's a little tense. It happened a lot with the Cad Bane scenes in season 1. Like anything that's like is a little bit what's the word? Just makes you feel a little uneasy, maybe. Yeah,
It makes you
yeah,
feel like
this
you need to
little-
look around for something.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I think
So yeah.
it harken, or I don't want to say harken. It evokes footsteps in a brain. Like everybody knows that Omega is off skittering around, sneaking around, and so it's in a film score technique, it's trying to evoke what people are thinking. They're thinking like, oh, somebody's sneaking around, as if they can hear their or sense their footsteps. I know.
Love it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Do you have another example, Justin?
I do.
Would you like to play it?
Do you have one for us, Xanthe? Not really.
Yeah, you do.
Okay, here's one. Here's one that's kind of going
Wait,
with.
Xanthe, play us something. Give
Play
us
us
something
something,
here. What is this?
What is this? Okay, I'll give you.
There's
I'll
like
give you time
very
to think.
small thing. Fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. Nice try.
On trumpet.
Transition scene, flying into the planet.
Episode 1 or episode 2? Hold on.
2.
2. Is
come
this?
on.
Is this? Okay, hold on. I know this. Is it? It's Empire, and it's when it's stormtroopers. It's when they're talking about it's Wilco. I know, I see it. It's Wilco. He's got his platoon around him, and it's a transition scene, just like Xanthe, as Christina said. See 2 X's. Like Christina said, and it's like, we'll get them or something, and you get this boom, 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 right?
No.
There's a spot that does it, though.
Okay.
Wait,
Okay, I'll give you a little bit more context. Give you more
More-
context. Okay, so
okay,
there's sort of
okay.
like 2 things happening at the same time, and there's like trumpets, and then there's a more action cuey thing, and it's sort of okay. So it's like consecutive different tonalities basically. So the trumpet is like, and then the action is like, or something. So it kind of feels like there's a trumpet thing, and then there's like
Is it strings
the
underneath?
action. Yeah, there are strings, and then the sort of action, like with drums and everything, kind of. Anyway.
Is Omega in the crate at this time?
No.
Has she
It's
done her
season.
sneaky
It's
sneaking?
episode 2.
And you're saying
Okay,
the trumpet
so
goes
she's out of the crate.
like that.
Pretty good. It goes. doo-doo-doo. It goes. Do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do.
Oh,
It's more like trumpet trombone. It's okay. One of them is clearly the trumpet is clearly more of a sweeter sound, and the other one is a more aggressive sound, and it's lower.
Oh, 1 second.
Oh, James is hearing it.
No, I don't think that's
Okay. Anyone have any other
So-
guesses, or should I just tell you?
Yeah, I don't know this one.
Okay, it's
You
it's when
stumped us. Go for it.
it's when Omega is rappelling down, and they're like almost there. Record, yeah.
But that's what Christina said.
I did
Oh.
say it's when Omega's in the crate, or like is
Oh,
Omega
yeah.
doing her sneaky sneak in the crate?
Okay, yeah, I guess that counts. Yeah,
Like rappelling back
Christina
down
won.
into it after they
rappelling
escaped
down the cliff. The cliff.
Did anybody else? Okay, this is in the chat. I sent you guys that Indiana Jones scene. I don't know if anyone watched it and got why I sent you that. It was a YouTube video. Did anybody else get like a combination feeling? This is me referencing movies that they probably weren't referencing, but I like see it. Both the combination of Jurassic Park 2 and Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Anybody? Okay. Let me set the scene real quick. In Jurassic Park 2, there's a whole caravan thing that goes over the side of a cliff, and there's a great scene where they're all hanging on to a rope and trying to get out and rappelling with it, and they're trying to pull their back up with the truck and blah blah blah. And then what really alluded to me was the end of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, when the Holy Grail is hanging off on a cliff, and Indy's like, I can reach it, Dad, I can almost get it, and Sean Connery's up there like, let it go, son, let it go, kind of a thing, and pulls him back out, kind of a thing. I got very much those vibes, but anyways,
I think
no
that
reference,
was
I'm sure.
definitely intentional. No, I'm sure.
I
I'm
feel
sure
like
they're
it's-
always-
I feel like
They're always
that's-
calling back to stuff, but yeah, that's what the whole thing felt to
Yeah.
me. He even said, Echo even said, "Let it go," which is the exact. I mean, it's an easy phrase to want to say in that time and situation, but it's exactly what both Sean Connery's character and Elsa's character from Frozen, who's also the name of the character in Indiana Jones. It's great. It's all connected. Disney just owns everything. Everything.
That kind of spun out.
They just own everything. They knew this was gonna come years later. Anyways,
They've got a jar with those tropes, and they just pull them out. And in
That's what they
today's
do.
Bad
We need a
Batch
thing.
trope
Okay, make it.
was-
Let's do a cliff rope thing. Okay, one
cliff
person
rope
says,
thing,
"Don't
It's
sacrifice."
gonna reference the.
Yeah.
Love it.
Oh, it's great. Oh, it's wonderful.
All right, Justin, your turn.
Okay, I got another one for you. And then it goes a little farther and does this like.
Yeah.
It was
kind
episode
of little
1.
thing. Episode
Actually,
1.
it's something like more like digga digga dun digga 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 dun digga 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 dun digga 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 dun dun digga digga dun digga 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 dun dun digga digga dun, right?
And these people just start running through with a
right.
briefcase.
Is that a joke?
It's
Yes.
a Darude Sandstorm joke. Yes. Can you play Darude Sandstorm for us real quick, Jess? Digga digga.
Yes, I can, James.
That just made my day. Okay.
It's really funny.
But yes, clearly derived from the same German techno scene. Absolutely. No, the second part, the part that to get Darude out of our heads.
How do you
the-
Darude?
Darude?
How do you spell it?
Darude.
Yeah.
Darude or something.
Darude. It's like the one big, not the one, but the big mainstream techno hit from the 90s that, like, if you didn't
Oh, I'm
listen
sure
to
there was
techno,
more than
you at
one.
least no. I was gonna say that if you didn't listen to techno, you at least knew that song.
Gotcha.
Kind of
Okay.
a thing.
I'm not
the
gonna
one-
lie. I learned that song from Dance Dance Revolution. That's how I know that. I was like, oh, that's like the one where like you had to go really fast, like.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
funny.
So, Justin, this is episode 1, right?
This is episode 1.
Would you say?
It is. It is.
It is episode 1, right? And if I'm not incorrect with that flute, can you play that the 16th note figure again?
Yeah, it starts on a beat 2, I believe, and it's like a dum.
Right.
It kind of grows a little.
And then
And that's a very like Star Warsy, John Williams-y kind of thing, in my opinion. That they're kind of like.
and then with that
taken
is
from.
like,
Is it on flute?
right? Isn't there some snare drum going on in there too?
There's a little bit of snare. The first part I played was on strings. These are trumpets and horns playing, so it's like trumpets, digga-digga-dun, digga-digga-dun, horns,
Okay.
dun, 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 digga-digga-dun, digga-digga-dun, bum, bum, bum.
Right? Like
Yep,
right
uh-huh.
underneath it is in like a marching snare drum. And it's when they're like sneaking around the camp, right? And
Yeah.
or whatever you want to call it, whatever this area is. But they're like
Mhm.
it's when they're like sneaking behind the ships and the containers, right?
Yep, it's when they first get to the planet, and they get off. They're like, okay, we're gonna go do the thing, and the cue
Ah.
starts when they are running down the hill, like through the trees, just like on the outskirts, and you get these like low string cellos, thum, 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 dum dum kind of a thing, and then when they actually get on there, you get these trumpets and this little horn
Right.
riff kind of a thing. More sneaky. These
More
band
sneaky
batchers, I
Lot of-
keep doing
lot-
it.
You're calling it-
This
you're gonna
whole
call it
time
the
I've
band
just been
batch
calling it
forever.
the band batch. What are you guys watching? Band batch, you know. Band batch does
Snare
band
drum-
batch.
Snare drum is definitely the crew doing their thing instrument in this
Yeah.
show. It's like very often it's like, yeah, and it's
Yeah.
I probably should listen to it, see if it's the same snare drum instrument that they're using every time, and hear if it's the same pitch. I'll be better about that next time.
Well,
Yeah,
on a related note, oh, go ahead, Justin.
Oh, I was just gonna say, unless you're about to talk about this exact same thing, I don't know.
Probably not.
Right after this cue, I was also counting how many times we hear variations of like the main theme. So right
So
after
many.
this, I know right after this cue, we get this like little plucky.
Yeah, that is what I was going to talk about. Yeah.
Yeah, they did a little like sneaky. Oh, look at the fun. It was kind of like comedic in a little bit. How
Yeah,
they were doing
it was on
sneaky,
strings.
sneaky comedic. Yep.
My violin doesn't go low. F sharp.
Boom. Yeah, I did like how these two episodes kind of served as like reminding me what the themes of this show are in some ways. Like,
Well, okay, which
I'm
themes?
like, oh yeah, well, like Omega's theme and the Bad Batch theme.
Yeah.
Like
The two
like
main.
it was nice to just be like, oh, okay, now I'm. It's like my friend is back, you know. My good old Bad Batch theme is back.
Not that
And
those.
there was like a really epic Omega themes. I don't remember where it was, but it was a very like over the top orchestrated. Was it the credits of episode 1? Maybe. I just
Well,
remember
the
hearing
credits all
Omega's
have
theme.
that.
Like, yeah, I
The
don't remember. But I
credits-
just remember there was like a huge Omega theme somewhere in these two episodes. Anyone remember where that was? Like bum 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 bum.
The credits.
Bum, bum. So, was it the credits?
I think it was episode 2 credits
Okay.
I think the credits were the
every
same.
credits. It's
Every credits.
both times.
Which
Oh,
is
right,
funny
they were,
because
yeah.
hearing that part, James, in the credits at least, I always forget that there's like this weird flute playing in the background. Did anyone else hear it? It's like it's got this.
No,
kinda
it's like
almost.
it's like kind of the it's has that Celtic.
I was just about to say it's got that little like.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of
It's
thing
so
in the
Lord of the
background.
Rings, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It does.
What? There's a specific theme from Lord of the Rings that sounds a lot like. What is it?
Oh,
Person?
yeah.
Like,
The Shire?
well, you know what it kind of sounds like, guys? It sounds like
yeah.
we never did we talk about this? How this tune sounds like Jupiter?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it does a little bit.
Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 ba, 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 ba. It's from the planets, everyone. Obviously.
Just like what most Star Wars. Yep.
Yeah, I really want to remix that. Too.
Oh wait,
Actually-
wait. The Lord of the Rings one is oh yeah, this is the show. Yeah.
Oh,
Yep,
that
yep,
the
yep.
dee dee dee.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think last. Okay, I think and the Angry Birds was regarding the plucky Bad Batch theme, but the Omega theme.
I don't know the Angry Birds theme. What is
the
that?
Me
Angry
neither.
Birds
I don't
theme?
know it either.
The
But the Omega theme definitely sounds like a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's
It makes
talk
me
about
want to
the
sing
Omega.
along with it.
yeah, I was gonna say speak about Omega theme.
Speaking of the Omega theme, how about this one? Can you hear this? Tell me if
No.
you can hear it. Can you hear it now? Yeah, I'm
No.
not playing it. I'm just kidding. All right, 1 second. Yeah?
Yes.
I'm not
does that happen?
sure, James. Was it the part that went Was it around there?
I feel like I think Justin got the sound closer to me. All I did was
I think
menu
you did
dive
got
and alchemy. All I did was
What-
menu dive and Logic's alchemy, and I found something that sounds kind of like it. So, I
Is
think
it
you
like
did that.
Fantasia or like that's like the
Oh, you
classic
know-
80s
Actually,
synth patch. It was called Fantasia.
Actually, it's not even alchemy. It's their ES2 synth, and it's a preset
Yeah.
called Glass Bells. on
Yep,
Logic.
I know that one. I love that
Yep.
one. That's probably more accurate though, because when I was trying to create it myself, I was like, "There's all this. You know what? I'm gonna get close. I'm gonna get close. It's fine." And then, so I'm happy you found the patch that they probably used.
How about
Yeah, Fantasia.
Excellent.
okay? Well,
Um,
that was when Omega was looking at the kaleidoscope.
A
Just
kaleidoscope.
can anyone tell me there's another moment in another piece of Star Wars media, recent media, that this particular moment reminds me a lot of, in terms of how the theme is used and what is kind of happening in the scene. Can anyone
Okay.
think? That's as specific as I feel like I want to be, but it reminds me of another moment of a similar type character in another Star Wars show.
Was it, like recent within the last couple years, recent or like?
Yeah, it's like one of them Disney
Like the
Plus
last
shows.
couple months.
Mm.
Okay.
It's not like I'll tell you this. It happened before we started these the band batch. It was in.
Oh, it's the
I guess
child.
Yeah, doesn't this sound like when Grogu
It sounds
finds
like the
the
child
eggs?
looking at his ball.
That's true. I was thinking of that episode in episode 2 of season 2 where he's looking at the eggs, and that's like what that I think is the first time where we get. And then they all hatch into spiders, of course. But I just remember
Yeah.
that sense of wonder that Grogu feels in that moment, and it's like this like really innocent and glistening and mysterious rendition of the theme. And actually, I believe that is the first instance of that theme in The Mandalorian. Like, didn't he recompose the theme for the child for season 2? Maybe I'm wrong. I just didn't remember hearing it as that particular theme for the child until that scene. Anyway, point being is that scene reminded me a lot of this scene in terms of its like instrumentation and its mood. That synthy like glistening,
Yeah, it's an
aesthetic.
instrument that is definitely in the collection of instruments that is often used for childlike discovery of things.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
dreamy, or
Yeah.
glass, literally just glass
Like,
and
I
light
think
on the
we would-
screen. They'll
I
do
think we
stuff
could-
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we could put celeste and glockenspiel and other similar instruments, or like the piano in the its high register, in that as well.
So Justin, what parameters like create that type of texture on a synth, like in the most
It's a
simplest terms?
yeah, in simplest terms. Well, I started with something very, very pure, like a sine wave. Which
wave,
I
okay.
guess if I hold on, while if we're gonna do this,
Is he gonna make it?
right? If I had a very pure, like that's it.
Right.
Let me
And
take
those are sine
away
waves that we're hearing,
RG.
like pure sine waves.
They're more like triangle waves actually, but they're not as like bright and buzzy like a saw wave or something like that.
Yeah.
And with that, you would add more harmonics or partials above that to give it its like kind of sheen. So like it's very slight.
Are you adding harmonics? I see. With an additional oscillator?
Yeah, it kind of, so this is, I'm using something called a harmonic oscillator, so it's just adding more harmonics to the bass frequency.
Gotcha.
And then to give it that extra shine, we give it a long decay time, so it kind of floats in between notes. So for example, without any decay time, it's done. Like the sound goes away. But if you add more of a release or decay, you get that kind of a sound.
And it does have a pretty short-ish attack.
Yeah,
Tossing
it's still
some
very
reverb
plucky.
into
Like
Golden,
you're still
right?
like
Yeah.
chiming. Say that again.
What was that,
What did
James?
you say, James?
Oh, I just said toss in some reverb, right? And some like echo.
Yeah,
delay or something and
reverb,
you're
some
golden,
motion,
right?
some delay. Yeah, so that's probably, or whatever they use for that awesome preset um,
Yeah.
on the ES2. I'd have to look that up.
Glass bells, baby.
Regarding the
Glass
end
bells.
credits Omega theme, it's only a 15-second video, unfortunately, but I think the
Favorite thing about Omega's theme
God
is
damn
the
it.
timing of these bass notes, emphasizing the mixed meter.
I'm so sorry, TikTok, when. So that's, I think, what you're referring to, James. Except I missed the note at the end. But
Yeah, that was nice
that's-
at the end.
Yeah.
Ponytails.
that was from like
yeah,
before I
nice
shaved my head. So it's still old video. My
Yeah, I
hair-
guess that's where what
It goes,
what I'm
except
thinking
it's like a foghorn. It's like dee 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 boom dee 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 dee. But yeah, that's in all the credits,
True.
except for that weird one in season 1 where the credits were different. You know the one I'm talking about. No, okay,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
fine.
definitely.
All right,
Episode 13, right? Yeah.
perhaps, but it was I remember the sound design was really cool in that episode.
I don't remember that.
Oh, I think it was one of the end. I think it was one of the end episodes.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's okay.
But now
It's
I'm
all
also
coming back to me now. As Celine Dion once said. Did you know that whole song was about watching the second season of The Bad Batch?
She knew,
knew?
like way ahead. She knew that we would use that. But that's a cool use of Omega's theme though for that like little section. I mean, it's a pretty like, I feel like tropey thing to continue to do with something, space out the theme, make it really light and childlike. But it worked really well. There was some really cool sounds that were happening when the kaleidoscope when they first looked through it. We got this extra little sheen that happened in the sound effects. And it was reharmonized, wasn't it? Like the melody itself, everything underneath had like kind of weird harmony.
yeah, there's a little
and
bit
then
of that.
eventually went, and then it went like creepy for a second there when she or not creepy, or sinister, like concerned when she overhears them talking about, oh, we still need to do things, and Echo is angry because we're not helping people, we're stuck here.
I think the kaleidoscope part was definitely like that little conversation was definitely my favorite part of the episode, and particularly, let's see, he's like Romar is like, for blast's sakes, it's a toy. It makes you happy.
Makes you happy, right?
Yeah.
So what if instead of Omega's theme we got
Oh God.
on a synth?
James.
I mean, it's kind of the same. It's kind of that scene serves a similar function, right?
No, because
Like,
Omega
it's like-
is because in the first time when that happens, and I rewatched that episode last night.
Oh, you did?
She's playing
Why?
and she's enjoying.
Why did you do that to yourself?
She's playing and she's like enjoying company with the other kids. Like here,
Yeah.
she's not listening to him. She doesn't. She clearly likes it, but she's not okay with it. She wants more. Hence her whole mission. She's grown now. She's grown. She's more grown up
It's true.
at this point.
It's true.
It's more melancholy. The
Poor
At least it
Omega.
wasn't the childlike wonder theme from right.
well, yeah, that's what. The
Yeah, that's what I was singing.
Yeah,
but
that's
on
what-
a glass,
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
glass bells.
Sit
synth.
on a glass. Yeah.
so
would be
there.
It wasn't like direct though. That would have been bad.
So
Like, not even.
one of the motifs that did pop up very clearly again in these episodes was the forming a plan one with look, let's not do that sound anymore. Okay. There. Okay. This. Which we got in season 1, and it's sort of like they're forming a plan theme. We got it. I think maybe it was just episode 2. I can't remember. but yeah, it's good to see that one pop up again. That and the Noble Clone one, which we've already discussed. Dee dee dee. No, I'm missing a part of it. It's that one, and we
Right,
first
right.
heard
Yeah.
it with Hauser, helping Hera's family escape. But yeah, we did hear. Oh, we heard a hint of something like that in this. I don't think we actually heard the full. I don't think we actually heard it. Okay, so I'm not gonna actually hang my hat on that. I don't think we necessarily heard it, but we did hear some like noble sounding lone trumpet stuff.
It harkens back to the Jupiter theme in a way. Ba 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 ba
Yeah,
ba ba ba.
yeah, like the intervals, like the spaces between they're like the regalness, I guess, the nobility of it. And Jupiter, no, Jupiter. The subtitle of that is Bringer of Jollity, but I feel like it has a nobility to it as well. Yeah.
Interesting. That
Anyone
clone
have
theme
a-
sounds a lot like Incantation and Dance by John Barnes Chance.
Oh, jeez.
I don't know if
Yes.
anybody- I don't know if you ever
I
Justin,
remember
you
that.
played that in high school?
I
Yeah, okay.
played that in high school.
But it's
That was a
there's
festival
a
piece.
there's a motif in the beginning in the first movement that's basically a boom 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 boom.
Oh,
Interesting. I was
Any
like, where have I
other-
heard that before? Oh yeah, high school band.
well, the thing is, both of all of these themes or melodies that we're talking about are ones that show up really prominently on like valved instruments, and so there is a certain like
Right.
valviness, there is there are certain similarities to sort of military things played on an instrument, perhaps before like it had whatever those are called, the push buttons. What are these called? Like on a trumpet?
Keys.
The keys. There
Are
we
you
go.
Push
well, on a trumpet they're called what do you call it? The
valves, pistons, valves.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
like how,
Yeah.
like the original sort of like trumpets, the very simple kinds of blowy brass instruments that don't have any things that you can press. Or maybe or it's like much simpler and you can only do, you can't go at like chromatic. You can't like fully go through, you can't have full control over like going through a chromatic scale or anything. So a lot of those will have like fourths and fifths and, just think of like doot doot. It's like, so I'm thinking of like those types of instruments. So Chuck says, where's the noble clone heard? Well, I kind of retracted that it's not necessarily that one specifically, but I do hear a hint of it in episode 2 at like 1835. And I also hear a hint of it around 2217, something similar. And it's after Romar has like pulled them back up. But before then, we are first introduced to it. I think, at least the first time I wrote it down was in season 1, episode 12, in the Hera's family episode, and then we also hear it like in episode 16, and we hear it in a few places. Yeah. So, other thoughts or examples from? Okay, I have one thing. In the beginning of episode 2, did you hear the sort of descending, like the synth thing that it sounded like the Rebels opening. It was about
No.
39 seconds. It was about 39 seconds into episode 2. And I don't know, it just, how like
Rebels
the opening.
opening?
Yeah, you know how like Rebels, it kind of goes like, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo, except it does the Rebel fanfare and it wasn't quite that. It just, the sound of it, the whole, yeah. Don't think like about the melody. There's no Rebel fanfare, but just sort of the flourish, the
Right.
synth string flourish.
Mm.
Is everyone listening? It's 39, about,
I'm not hearing a descending synth sound. What are you
Sorry,
talking about? I'm hearing
ascending.
strings.
ascending. It's
But I'm
like,
Of episode 2?
yeah. It's like maybe 40
39
seconds.
seconds?
Maybe
45
like
seconds in.
45
Yeah.
So you hear it.
Yeah.
Just something about
Okay.
it. It reminds me of Rebels.
But I don't hear
I
anything.
also really
synthy.
liked
I hear
this section,
strings.
too,
What are you
because-
talking
Oh
about?
yeah, synth strings.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I think
I
they're
also really liked this section,
supposed to
too,
not
because-
sound like. I think these attempting them to sound like real strings, but
I don't
see
think
or
so because it's
something.
not a very good attempt.
I think that's just like I think that's just where we are with scores now.
I do think that this score doesn't try too hard to not sound like
No.
synth. I think it's
Well, it doesn't have to. You know?
right. I think the character of it is like a synth orchestral score, so
Yeah.
it's the synth string sound.
Do you think
and
any of
I'm-
this was real string instruments anywhere?
I don't think
in this new
so.
episode? Yeah, I think it's pretty much all
Samples.
VSTs.
Yeah, you were gonna say something,
Yeah, I
Justin?
like
or Christina?
I like how similar just the vocal note, the that is like I think the first
The
sound
Disney
that we
Plus?
hear after the opening credit, like
Oh, yeah.
how blatantly synthy it is, how hilariously synthy it is. I agree, that's pretty funny because I think with vocals it's sometimes even more, it can be more abrasive than with instruments sometimes. When you use a synth and you could have used a real person.
To sing.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, I'm fine with it. I think it's just really funny. It's almost like voice as instrument.
Well,
Not
yeah,
so much.
there are definitely.
I like the fact. I was gonna say I like the fact that the opening credits to Band Batch is just that a fake choir swell and then a hit and some snare drum, like
Yeah.
like that's it. When it says skip intro, you're just like, eh. There's no. By the
There's
time
not
you reach
really
the
an
end, it's
intro.
over.
Yeah.
Not that I skip intros, but like because I like the music. But it's just funny that it's like, yum. Oh, we're here. Oh, great. Okay, here we
Although
go.
now that
After like this Andor like slow opening. Oh, what's it gonna be this week? You know, kind of like how did it evolve this episode? You know, it's
And
just
like a
boom, we're
3-minute
done, into the
recap.
episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
I genuinely could have used a recap for this one too, Christina.
Yeah,
You're
it would have
right,
been
man.
a nice
Like,
little.
what happened?
Even as like a little like selectable pre-episode.
Yeah,
like,
because you could have
oh,
dropped
by
this in the
way-
middle of season 1.
Right. You could have done it. And
Yeah,
what?
that's just this show. Unfortunately, I feel like last season there was a number of episodes that you literally could like just rearrange them in a different order and it wouldn't confuse the plot at all. There were so many like little
Yeah.
and they, I guess when we watched them, we're like, oh, I guess that we might see those characters return. Like, what wasn't there some character where there was like, what was that weird thing where somebody took over Sid's thing for an episode?
Oh yeah.
And
Oh
who
yeah,
was that?
The
the
did
guy
that
with
again?
the cute little monster.
Right,
He was like
Who the hell
he
is
was
that
like
guy?
Gang Lord's son. Yeah.
right.
Well,
See,
yeah, we'll
I-
see. Well, we got a new character, didn't we?
Romar.
Fee? Sid's friend, pirate friend?
Oh yeah, Wanda Sykes is in this show.
Yeah, right. I saw that. I was like, isn't that?
I thought it sounded like her, and I was like, it can't be. I didn't look it
Oh,
up.
there
but
were
wow.
some interesting instruments being used during her whole scene.
That's true.
Yeah.
There was like
There-
some really
there's, like, this
interesting
weird
dulcimer
little, like-
sounds.
Yeah, it was like a zither, harp, dulcimer.
It sounded
type
like
of-
there was like a what do you call it? A Japanese bowed string instrument. I forget what it's called.
Yeah.
But there was some interesting timbres going on in that scene. It was very, I don't know. It's just like really. That's when that scene happened. I was like, holy shit! Like there's a lot of music coming at me right now. I'm not like like after watching Andor, I was just like, holy shit! There's a lot of music being played at me right now. Like it's like every little part of the conversation, like like it's just like every part of the conversation was scored, like. And like then like she walks out of the room and then they go cut over to these characters and then the score changes with their thing. I was like, whoa, this is that's when I was like I was like, this is a different show than Andor and I gotta get used to this thing being Mickey Moused a little bit more,
Though I do
So-
feel like there was
Yeah.
more synth. Like I feel like in specific ways. Like I think the stormtroopers now have this low, warbly, ominous synth. That's very supposed to be a synth. And it sounds very like you could hear it briefly at 10 minutes in. You could hear it at like at 6:50 when the stormtroopers are at night. You can hear it multiple times, and it's I don't know, like it almost Andor-y, almost
Sure.
like even with
Yeah,
like a
there's
little
oh
warble.
yeah. Well, that's the thing is that that's what we're saying is that Kevin Kiner does so many things with this score throughout the show that he's bound to have something that sounds like Andor in it, since he uses just about every genre you could use in a film score within these next episodes. So
Yeah,
you know what's funny? I've been watching over the winter break. I watched all of Succession,
Okay.
which is another Nicholas Britell scored show.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really interesting to see how similar the approach is
Mm-hmm.
to Andor, and that it's just a lot of just the same material and themes used over and over again, but in slightly different ways, different instruments. But it's like there's so fewer themes and motifs in that score than there are, and this show is like so it's like moving on to the next theme. It's just like it's
This is more of the
so
classic
much-
Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. In
There's
that
just so much
sense.
material, you know. It's just so much musical material.
And not just that, but the approach, like you said, James. There's more Mickey Mousing in this, and for anyone listening, not remember us talking about. Or
Though I didn't
ever heard
hear very
Mickey
much Mickey
Mousing.
Mousing in the first 2 episodes.
What do you mean? What are maybe we're saying we're using this term Mickey Mouse to mean different things?
Well, I do think Mickey Mouse, the term is used probably too liberally sometimes, just to mean like scoring to the frame. But Mickey Mousing would be like a gesture, like boing, like
Yeah,
really.
to me, it's like very gestural, very like this is exactly what the action on the screen is. So, like for example, like one that I wrote down in my notes was in the very first episode when Omega goes down the falls down the cable, we get this like little like kind of like
Yeah.
like little spinny twirly thing out of there. That's like very clearly, oh, she's dizzy, or like, oh,
Yeah.
she's going down. There was a moment like in the second episode when I believe was it Wrecker and who's our leader?
Hunter.
Hunter. I was gonna say Ranger. Hunter and Wrecker fall off of the big the warship, the cargo ship, and you get this da 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 da, you know, as they're following. It's like clearly we were following in this moment kind of thing. But I was gonna also point out earlier that in the beginning of episode 2, they kind of did like an opposite effect for like tension building while the cargo crate is falling. I feel like a lot of people would be like da 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 as it's falling, but they kind of in your little rebel flourish that you were mentioning, it kind of did this. It was the
It didn't-
opposite. It's
yeah, it
like
was
going up,
ascending.
going up, going up, going up as it's like falling farther down. So you got a better like tension building there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That to
Yeah,
me
I
is
just
like,
think I think if you took like Nicholas Britell and Kevin Kiner and put them, you know, and almost like counted how many times they made this binary decision, should I put music to score this exact moment or not? I think Nicholas Britell answered that question no way more times than Kevin Kiner did in these 2 episodes. You know what I mean? Like there's like a lot of silent, like not silence, but there's a lot of moments in Enter that just have no score. There's just talking happening or there's action happening. There's a lot fewer episodes, like percentage wise, I would say, in these 2 shows where there's just not music accompanying a scene. And yet, like there's so much. It's like every moment of it feels scored, and there's very few scenes where you don't notice some type of music happening to tell you what's going on.
Yeah. And I don't think that's a
and so-
composer thing. I think it's the show.
Yeah. Like I think it's a mixture between, but I also think it's a mixture between, like, Kiner's approach for this show, and I don't know.
I think if you
he might
swapped,
agree with that.
I think if you swapped out Kevin, I mean, you know, the Kiner brothers, like the whole team. I think if you swapped
Yeah.
them out with a different composer, there still would be music in the
Yeah.
same places.
And that's
The-
what I
this-
was kind of saying in the beginning of the stream is like I think it's a mixture of, because it's animation, and I think the demographic is younger. I think a lot of shows that are marketed for younger kids have a lot of information to help them along with what's going on with the information. And that part of what helps with that is score. Like score helps the kids watching the show like know like, oh, this is a dangerous situation, or oh, this is like this is a good character, this is a protagonist. Those things are actually like, like specifically done for shows marketed towards youth to help them understand what's going on a little bit more.
And also
yeah.
just being in the Star Wars vein, like even Kenobi had a lot more music. Like
For
Andor
sure,
was the exception in
Yeah,
terms of
agreed,
amount of
agreed.
music.
And that's what
But
I'm saying. I
the
watched,
feature films are also
Yeah.
scored a lot.
And then I think that attributed to Andor just feeling more, for a mature audience, for a different audience. It just felt like a different type of product.
Maybe. Yeah.
It did, I think, in the sense that in Andor, we are genuinely questioning. Well, I'll talk about Bad Batch first, and that'll make it clear. So in Bad Batch, we're pretty clear on who are the bad guys and who are the good guys. There are very few situations like we have Crosshair, who is sort of a maybe bad guy, maybe good guy. We don't know yet, or just, we always don't know. And then we also have this kind of drama with Omega where it's like, do we prioritize treasure, or like, do we feel guilty about this? Do we not feel guilty about this? But that is like very simple compared to the are we good or bad of Andor. In Andor, that like every single character is kind of a good guy and a bad guy, almost, in a way, depending on how you look at it. So there's no clarity. So in Bad Batch, it's just the scoring supports the characters, and it's just very clear. It's like, okay, we've got a bad guy going on, and like you were saying, James, about the kids, like it's just a lot easier. Like you can just say like, okay, we're going to do scary music because we know these are bad guys and we know it's a dangerous situation. We know the good guys are here, blah, blah, blah. In Andor, that's just totally not possible. And for example, in Kenobi, there aren't as many questions about that as well either. I think there's kind of a clear line about who's a good guy and a bad guy. Yeah. So.
Yeah, so the existence of music also can reflect what of the story the showrunners care to reveal yet. And if there's not something that they want to reveal in like a definitive way, then the music might sound ambivalent or unreliable or something, or not there, perhaps. I don't know if I would find it easier or harder to understand the show without music. I find it hard to understand the show, period, because so much happens in the Bad Batch. Like in episodes 1 and 2, I felt like way too much happened and not enough talking.
Yeah, there's a lot of action. It's just action. It's just
We're back to the Clone
episodes
Wars
of
feel, in my opinion.
But
Well, it depends. Yeah, some of the Clone War. Well, it depends on the episode, of course, but it's the action-y part of it.
Yeah. I have to say that, like, I agree with you, Xanthe. I think we're on the same page of, like, I feel disappointed by this opening because I feel like I'm watching an episode from, like, the middle of season 1. Like, I feel like I'm just watching an adventure of the week. They went and they tried to do a job. It's just like status quo has not really changed for them, and it's just action. Like you said, there's not really a lot of talking. I guess there's a little bit of character development with Omega and the dude and the kaleidoscope or whatever. Tech got his leg broken. Tech.
Got hit on.
What?
His femur was broken.
It was like some tech. These were some techie episodes. He had some great lines in this.
That's true.
So Tech. But here's the thing: is like Tech. If there's one thing that tells you that this is not Andor, it's that Tech gets crushed by a box during a mission, and he doesn't die.
Oh no!
Instead, he just injures his femur and continues on. Andor Tech would be dead.
Yeah.
So again,
the thing is, I'm not interested in comparing this to Andor. Like they're different shows, and so I don't want Andor to forever be like a litmus test because I don't want all shows to be like Andor anyway. But
Yeah.
But still, even without Andor, I mean, even before
Just,
Andor, I think I would have said the same thing as like, okay, this was maybe a disappointing start to the season for me because I don't know anything more about their inner. I don't know very much about them. I just know stuff is happening to them. There's stuff, but they're fine and they're in the same
and
place.
it all just feels like part of it also is like the medium of animation where in some ways I'm not as concerned for their safety because it all looks
Yeah.
stylized and animated, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and
so
I'm
it's like
perfectly
I'm
fine
not
with
watching
having different
human
rules
beings.
for animation. 100%. I want that. I don't want animation to be too realistic.
But I'm saying there's
That's
just
boring.
there's so much focus on like what are aiming to be like an exciting action piece. But to me, I feel like I've gotten to the point with this show where it feels like almost like a chore to watch these action scenes when I know that nothing will change and I know that like I'm not getting like a lot of story development and character development. So like it feels like 2 episodes full of like animated action. Like those crabs. Like I'm not really afraid of those crabs, you know?
They're
Like
Pokemon.
it felt a little video gamey, you know? Like
Yeah.
it feels like, oh, this is just a foe that
The
they
next
need to.
thing that's coming. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but I know that like that I'm a 32-year-old man, and this show is an animated Star Wars show, and like like maybe my level of excitement isn't like the gauge of how successful this show is.
Well, see,
you know what I
I
mean?
actually
But,
liked the
like,
crabs. I think they were one of my favorite parts of that episode.
Yeah, I
Were the
Whoa.
crabs
What?
because
That's
I
interesting.
because I
Me
like
too.
seeing like things that looked. I just like things that look delightful. Like I like whimsical, like funny, like hilarious, giant. Like I like that. Like I liked that, even
I'm
though
just
like
not
it
into
wasn't.
crabs.
Yeah, even
The
though it
water
wasn't
was
like
beautiful.
yeah, it wasn't a very big thing, but I was just like, oh, that looks cool. Like I'm stimulated. And
Sure.
yeah, okay. So, another thing that Jeannie says, I think the beginning of the season is a reminder that they're stuck spinning their wheels with no direction. They're avoiding their real problem.
Yeah.
Definitely agreed. And I think now, D. Bradley Baker is incredible. I'm kind of sick of hearing the same actor play off of himself. I think what I'm feeling is like, I don't think I want to see them I don't know, escaping in a crate and doing all this thing and talking to whatever. Like I think I want to have the clones have some good dialogue with each other to talk about their situation, like to actually kind of we did see some hints and whatever, but I think we're kind of missing like actors playing off of each other because D. Bradley Baker, bless him, is reading all of the lines for the clones except for Omega. Love him,
Right.
but the dialogue is a little bit like too perfectly placed with like read your line. Like it doesn't feel like there's a live wire at any point in from person to person, and that sort of person to person stuff is a little bit missing here.
I feel like Michelle Ang needs way more press over this show. Like I feel
Why?
I don't know, I just don't see her popping up in a lot of conversations about Star Wars over the last few years, even though she's done an incredible job with Omega. Like I just I know she was at Celebration, but I don't know, I feel like I haven't seen enough of her in media, and I think she's awesome. She's a great voice actor. And I think I don't know what her next project is, but I just feel like I want to see more of her, and I feel like we haven't seen enough of her.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's just a general statement, but I just feel like she's underappreciated for her work in this show. I feel like
Is she?
I do like read a lot of like discourse, on Reddit and on elsewhere, like about these shows, Twitter, etc. And I just feel like I don't see her name pop up ever after these shows. Like you hear D. Bradley Baker brought up a lot for his work. You hear the actors of Andor and all these other shows come up. I feel like I've watched reading and watching all of season 1, and already in season 2 I haven't heard anyone mention Michelle Ang, and she's like the star of the show. She's like the freaking like the top credit of the show. She's like the main character, and I don't feel like she gets enough props. So, props to her. So,
Noted.
Props.
Props.
so
Jeannie says, I think the music enhances a show, but I don't consciously look for the musical cues. Yeah, fair enough. And then Chuck says, now that I know what the noble clone motif is, it might enhance my understanding in the future. Cool.
Nice.
And Stuck Spinning Wheels is kind of an episode, is kind of a season 2 opening trope on a lot of shows. Yeah, that does make sense. That does make sense.
Yeah.
Well, musically, like, I know I talk about this a lot, but I can't separate my feeling. I have a hard time separating my feeling about a show in general with my feeling about the music. And usually my opinion of the show is tied to my opinion of the music and vice versa. Like, I don't really know which one starts. And I've kind of always thought, like, the music of the Bad Batch is not my favorite, or the Clone Wars. But in listening to it, watching these first 2 episodes, I really, I feel like there has been growth since season 1 in the music. I feel like, and also after hearing Tales of the Jedi, where I feel like Tales of the Jedi was probably the best that the Kiner team has done. And my feeling is the music is fine. It's probably good, and I might like the music better if I liked the episodes better. And so, yeah, I don't know what else to say about that. Like, I think the music is fine. The thing is, I'm not going to listen to the music that much, probably because I'm probably not rewatching the show a ton.
right.
I get what you
It'd be
mean.
really interesting to see him do a live action Star Wars project. I'd just see what
What
Yeah.
they do.
what they would do. So
They've done live action other movies, so maybe it's worth checking it out.
what movies?
Okay, as we all look it up now.
Yeah, let's take a look. We should check it out.
Okay.
CSI is live action.
Didn't
It's
they
not
do
a movie,
Narcos?
but, they did Leprechaun? No way.
What's Doom Patrol?
That's amazing that the Kiner,
The old
Kevin
80s
Kiner-
Leprechaun horror?
1993.
Or,
Yeah.
or 90s horror?
Yeah.
Is that a movie?
That's funny. Yeah,
That's amazing.
It's great.
It's animated.
No.
It's
And
it's not
like
an
a crazy
no.
movie.
and there's an leprechaun in it, and it's not animated.
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
It's it's a movie.
Tremors 3.
Star
Never
Trek. Oh
saw
no,
it.
that's music. The video games. Samaritan.
Golden Eye? Who knew? Oh no, that's like the revamp of Golden Eye. I see.
So yeah, they've done a couple things. Probably Doom Patrol would be a recent live action thing.
I'd like to go watch some of these things and
Yeah.
hear what the approach is.
Interesting.
Because I do feel like the what we've gotten, like you said, is just so fits this medium. It's just so like
Yeah.
action packed the way that it's scored. Like it's so.
Well, they've done
it's
these.
And I think they
they've
do a
done
pretty
this
good job.
series for a while now, and they've
Yeah.
done similar series for a while now. So they've got this like
Yeah, they
not
have a rhythm
formulated
down.
out, but they
Yeah.
got a good rhythm and like, oh, okay, it's another one of these episodes. We got this. Not like they're not.
And they're a
treating every
team.
episode as like,
Which helps.
yeah, they know what they're doing, kind of a thing.
It's cool.
Yeah. Oh, something we didn't mention. I'm going back through my notes.
What? Wait, Warwick Davies played the leprechaun, I think.
Yes, he did. Yep, Warwick Davies
Oh my god.
played the Leprechaun. Very weird series of movies. Have we heard Sid's Jukebox before? Like the diegetic music? We didn't mention this. The diegetic music that we heard coming out of.
We heard it in season
the
1.
bar.
A ton in
Well,
season
in
1.
this episode, I'm just saying, did we know if this is a repeat of one of like the tunes we've already heard, or that was released, or is this new? Because it was like very like open fourthy, fifty,
Yeah.
almost like a Kodo
It's like a blues
on the
tune.
beat kind of a thing
Yeah.
that was happening. It wasn't
Yeah,
very
Justin's
distinct.
talking
I had
about
to
the
go back a
diegetic
few
music
times.
in episode 1 in Sid's bar, where when Wanda Sykes' character
Yeah,
remember
comes
her
in. We get
comes in.
that.
There's
I
kind of
also
like a
had fun-
strummy guitar thing in it as well.
Yeah, it felt like like I said, it felt almost like a koto or like a plucked kind of open fifty kind of thing, which was fun. What else did we? Oh, let's see here. Sound effects. Hold on.
Oh,
Hold
yeah.
on. I got a whole list of
Oh
sound
wait, and
effects.
I'm gonna read David W. Collins's thing about the crabs. Okay, here's a tidbit about the crabs. The crab vocals feature several agitated animal calls, but the only one that really made them work was horses, pitched and sped up, a threatening alien sound, but not overly so. Their leg movement is also pitched / sped up horses galloping on a beach.
Oh, fun.
So you can, yeah.
Nice.
The crabs also feature lots of giant crustacean type of claw snaps and various crusty clicks. And when Omega hits their outer shells, I took a game sound design approach and made it very metallic, so we know they're not taking damage.
Oh, interesting.
Nice little subtle way that the sound,
so interesting.
shapes
I-
our perception of the
I
world.
feel like a lot of people take from horses and sheep and goats and stuff like that for a lot of otherworldly creatures. Especially, like, I always hail back to, like,
All the years.
episode 2, Attack of the Clones, when they're in the Colosseum and the rhino thing comes out and it sounds kind of like
Like
a
a
sheep.
whinny?
Or
Oh,
like,
like a
like a
sheep.
whinny kind of a thing. Well, it's got this, like, kind of like that guttural stuttering kind of a thing, and I heard it with this creature. I've heard it with other creatures. I feel like that's like a really otherworldly thing for people for some
Yeah.
reason. That just like that constant guttural stuttering,
Mm-hmm.
which I mean it's used brilliantly and effectively, of course. Had a lot of good explosions in this. The rocket boom or the tank gun boom and the echoes and stuff like that. We got Sid's jukebox, klaxon alarm, which I'll always mention anytime I hear it. We got the klaxon alarm in episode 2. Wonderful, and also one of my favorite sounds in the world, speeder bike. Once again, we hear the speed. I feel
we
like
had
they
some good speeders.
perpetually reverb on a like they could be right next to you and you still hear the woo from the distance.
The speeder?
I wonder if they like ventriloquist their sound. Again, rules on speeder
Could it
bikes.
have
I'm gonna
been-
write a whole book on this.
Was
thing.
it always this? Was it the speeder bikes or was it the environment that they're in?
It was a speeder bike sound.
Okay.
Like, but it's just funny that like no matter where they are, how close they are to the camera, you will always hear that woo like in the distance kind of a thing that the speeder bikes make. Omega's bow is back, her laser bow with its all of its magical sounds. Text data pad was great. The stormtrooper okay, so I mentioned that like they're still using technology from the Clone Wars, which is cool. So we're still getting like that the Clone Wars the clone transport ship sound, and it's got that kind of wobbly kind of what if I like the low kind of thing to it almost, which was fun.
Chuck says Endori night crickets.
Yeah, Endori night crickets. We got speeded by a weird background hum in the old man's house. I wrote down for some weird reason. I thought that was interesting.
Also the
It's like a
of
hum.
binoculars.
Yeah, we hear the binoculars. I wrote that down. We get the binocs. We get some classic door sounds.
Also, Romar's voice was too omnipresent for my liking.
It was very weird. Yeah, Romnar's
Like it
voice
sounded
kind of a
like
thing.
everyone else sounded fine, and then Romar sounded weird, ADR mixed differently, something.
Yeah. We got AZ number.
Who didn't
her
die.
friend, who didn't die. I love that he comes in. It's like, hi, remember me? I'm this guy. Oh yeah, we know.
Yeah,
I
okay.
thought that was great.
Okay, yeah, the most emotional part, of, like one of
Yeah,
the most
right.
emotional parts about the finale. Okay, he's back.
We
Okay.
just, okay, he's back. He's not even part of the team. He's serving drinks now. After everything we went through,
Oh,
you just stay
here we go.
behind. You serve
Okay.
drinks. You're good.
Another perfect. Okay, I honestly didn't remember that whole thing from the finale until you just said it right now.
With
and another
AZ?
perfect another perfect reason why we needed a freaking recap.
If they
'Cause
had
We
I
need
was-
a little
recaps,
recap there.
I was watching him and I was like, why is he here? Wasn't he from the Clone Wars?
Oh
I totally forgot
Oh
that.
yeah.
I forgot what his whole deal was. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
he was
glad
there,
you reminded me.
floating around, doing his thing.
Yeah, it was so sad. I remember being really sad about it.
yeah, and so was Omega. She was. Anyway.
She was
Yeah.
Oh man.
So he's back.
It's like her best friend of childhood.
I go put him back
right?
together.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
right?
raised her, basically.
Wow.
Well, with
We get and we were talked about earlier, the stun ray, great stun ray and standard blaster sound.
Newt
What's
stun
fun for
ray.
me is listening to a lot of like these like sounds they have to create or have been created. They're almost made in very similar ways, synthesizer way kind of a thing. It's this thing called frequency modulation, and it's just wobbling the pitch in various different things, and you can do so much with it. So like,
yeah.
like for example, like a standard, I think, where is it? Oop, 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 oop. A standard pitch, and then you just slowly add. So that's really slow. Up and down, you speed that up. We get a funny sound. If we put it down a little bit, we get vibrato, right, on an instrument. We get a spaceship taking off. We get some kind of thing. If we add a little motion to it, we get the blaster sound, right? You get the kind of a thing. You keep adding more and more. You can get all these great ship sounds and weird hovery sounds. I think, what was Cad Bane's little robot friend, little droid friend?
Oh, yeah. Toto.
I love that. Toto, yeah. When he's flying around, you get the same, like, little, That's like him flying.
Would you say that the pitch modulation synthesis techniques are common in all of sort of sci-fi type of?
Oh yeah, like
Yeah.
this hails back to like the beginning of sci-fi sounds being used, like, and synthesizers being used as like sound generating devices for scores.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. Like this is like the classic computer sound. You hear in the background. That's just like that's like two
Sequenced.
cables.
Oh, okay.
It's like,
yeah.
Well, not even. No, that's not even
Oh.
sequence. That's like the class is something
It's
called
like almost-
sample and hold.
Okay.
Sample and hold, where we're taking frequencies from noise, just so like random frequencies, very like.
So is it randomized?
It's very randomized,
Oh, okay,
usually.
okay.
Or it could be sequenced, or it could be randomized, but you won't know the difference unless you're like, oh yeah, that's clearly a loop, or you're just like, oh, it's
Yeah,
just
and if it's looped,
computer sounds.
Yeah, then you would think it's sequenced. If not, then yeah.
Right. So that's like one of the first things you learn in like how to, once you start manipulating synths and stuff, like, oh, here's the sample and hold effect. You're like, oh, it's Forbidden Planet, computers in the background, every spaceship I've ever seen. Or if you go to like the instrument, the theremin. Anyone a fan of like one of the first electronic instruments ever created, is the one where you get a little closer to the antenna and the pitch goes up. You get a little farther away from the antenna, the pitch
I
goes
want one
down.
of those so bad.
Oh, they're so much
Me
fun.
too.
But that was like the classic like ghost or like alien coming down, the robot coming down the ramp. Kind of
Yeah.
a thing people would do. But that's the same as if I were to like, where is it? Come back. There it is. Also classic little.
It sounds like
Ghost
you're a
sound.
soprano with a really wide vibrato.
Yep. The two octave, the two octave vibrato.
Chuck says Hector Elizondo voiced Romar, and I looked him up, and he has a ton of credits. Going back to like 1963. So we've probably seen or heard him in something before. Lego Batman movie. James Jim Gordon.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Interesting.
I wanted to add that those synth sounds you were just demonstrating for us, Justin, I feel like they not only harken back to the sci-fi world, but to kids' animation and anime.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
if it's not sci-fi, even if it's normal life and it's just like someone's cooking, from some sort of machine. It's like they or Goku's cloud that he flies on in Dragon
Yes.
Ball is,
Yeah.
and that is totally just a differently pitched oscillator.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, lots of good ones like that for sure.
That's good stuff. Um,
Who's Gary Marshall?
I had
Why
something.
do I know that name? Hector used to be in every movie by director Gary Marshall. I know then. Did Gary Marshall direct Chicago? I'm probably very wrong. Oh, okay. No, not Chicago. Okay. Pretty Woman, Runaway Bride, The Princess Diaries,
Mm,
Valentine's Day, New Year's Eve, The Lucy Show. No, oh, he was a writer on The Lucy Show. Interesting. Okay. It's always, yeah. Star Wars does have a way of casting like people who aren't necessarily household. I'm sure he's a household name to some people, but I also see he does a lot of voices for animation and stuff like that. So, yeah, it has a way of kind of casting people like interesting people. Brother of Penny Marshall. All these, yeah, all these people that I should probably know but don't. Okay, Laverne and Shirley. Okay, I see. Cinderella, Riding in Cars with Boys.
Sheldon's voice in The Simpsons.
Okay.
oh,
Anyway,
that's great.
thank you for that. Any other music or sound thoughts?
Those were the big ones that I saw.
So I do have. It's not music and sound related, but I wanted to open up the speculation of like what's up with this release schedule.
Oh,
Like what? It's like randomly in the middle there on February 8th they're gonna drop 2 episodes. I wonder why.
It's probably going
Is
to be
it-
another two-parter.
It's like a mid-season finale kind of deal. You think it's gonna be like that'll
I
be
think it's
like?
just-
Yeah, maybe so.
I
I
wonder
think
why
it's
they did.
another two-parter kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think so, but that's interesting about the way that they wrote it, I guess.
do you think it was maybe an accident? Like one of their episodes got too long, and so they split it into 2, maybe?
I mean, maybe the first season was 16 episodes as well, and I feel like there were even some two-parter type.
Yeah, but there were no
arcs as
double
well.
drops.
But no, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Like, what's up with this, with releasing it that way? I wonder why they.
But it's
decided
been
to do
interesting too that a lot of almost all of these Star Wars shows have been double dropping the first 2 episodes so often.
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
And I've been feeling like it's been this like personally, this is how I feel like it's been this way to like keep people interested because a lot of people like to like I'm just saying like from my experience will bash on a first episode for not being interesting enough because it's taking time to like establish where they want the story to go.
But
Kind
what,
of thing. Like
what do you think
I
of
felt,
these? But these,
well, even this. So it's like, so maybe they weren't the most interesting episodes, but it wasn't until the end of episode 2 where we're like, oh, okay, so some sinister stuff's about to go down. They lost all this. We know that they got the word. Like Wilco died. The Empire's back on their tail or not, kind of a thing. So they needed to like double part this first release to like show that, oh look, we are going somewhere with this. They did the same with Obi-Wan. They did the same with Andor. Andor was like 3 episodes, I feel, right? And just to get us through, because if that first episode of Andor had just been that, I'm sure a lot of people would have been like, why? What was this? What did we? What is the point? This is too slow. Like that was the same complaint. I haven't watched the whole thing, but I remember them being the same complaint for Lord of the Rings: Rings of Power, is that it takes 3 episodes for it to like get going. And I've only seen the first episode, and even I, who's a big Lord of the Rings fan, was like, and like what's happening here? What's going on? But they're really taking time to like establish everything.
Yeah.
So I feel like these double drops are like, okay, just keep you interested, keep you going. Don't worry, we've got a point to this. That's how I feel, at least.
I feel like this one was the least successful of the multiple drops. Also,
Of course, but
also the premiere of season 1 was just one episode, but it was a long episode. It was like a double
hour,
length
right?
episode. And I thought that was a good episode. Like, I don't know why they're, what is stopping them from doing that? I don't know.
That's a good question.
They already did it, but
more clicks.
I don't know.
More clicks, maybe. I don't know.
It's interesting.
But that will be an interesting week for them to drop those two in the middle. Because you wonder if even if it's a two-parter, once you're in the middle of the season, you like keep that momentum and those cliffhangers going, So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Jeannie has a
That's
good point, which is I suspect the schedule was affected by their
Right,
delayed
'cause it
release.
was
So
so-
maybe they didn't
it was-
intend to do that.
Yeah, it was supposed to come out in September. So
So
that's
maybe.
true. And when does
Okay.
Mando season 3 start?
Yeah, Matthew's
It
echoing
starts on March 1st.
So there will be overlap.
This is a
Yeah, I was trying to see if maybe it has to do with other Star Wars shows coming out, but
Yeah, this is a big reason why we're not doing these streams every week. So
yeah. And Ahsoka doesn't come out till May.
That's still so soon in my mind.
I know.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
2023
So there's a
is
whole
gonna be
month.
crazy. Mando,
Crazy.
Ahsoka, Bad Batch, and then there's like one other big one, right? Isn't Visions coming out this year?
I don't know, but
too?
there's like Tales,
There's a
not
Visions.
Tales. Is Skeleton Crew?
Skeleton Crew.
Yeah,
that's coming
Skeleton
out.
Crew's coming out.
And then isn't Acolyte at the end of the year?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah. So and Acolyte comes
August.
out in August. Dude,
August
that's the one I'm
2023
most
is
excited
Acolyte.
about.
Yeah, me too. May, June, July. It's not very long after Ahsoka. Wow, Disney Plus Star Wars really does not want us to have like. We have to be. If they want Star Wars, they want to be top of our mind at all times
Yeah.
with new
We will
new
eat our
stuff.
Star
Just
Wars and
pump
like
us
it.
out. Give us new stuff constantly. Wow, it's very intense. Okay.
Are you how
Wave.
freaked out are you that in May, Xanthe, you're gonna see a live action Grand Admiral Thrawn?
And there he is. There he is, mentioned by James
James.
this time.
I don't think there's
By
any
James.
confirmation.
James.
I don't think there's any
There
confirmation.
was no Thrawn mentioned this round.
I don't
There
think there's-
is confirmation that he's in that show. He's been cast.
Well, I don't
Xanthe doesn't
click
believe
on
it, though.
rumors, so. Oh, Young Jedi Adventures. I was thinking of that, Matthew.
I don't click on rumors. Oh,
I don't want
deny
to.
it all you want,
I don't
Xanthe.
want
Deny
to
it
hate
all
it
you
before.
want.
I don't want to hate. Like, there is no good that can come of me clicking and reading something other than put me in a
I
bad mood and make me preemptively decide that I'm not going to like it. And for my own sanity, mental health, I don't want to do that. Like, I want to hope for the best and just let the story happen to me. Chances are I'll probably, I don't know. I don't want to say that I'll be disappointed because I don't want to I don't write my reality by preemptively deciding that I'm not going to like something, because it's more fun in life to like things.
Of course.
So that's why I'm
Yeah.
not clicking on anything, because I think it
Well,
would
the
only
weirdest
make
thing-
me upset.
Yeah, the weirdest thing is that it's come out that they're deciding to make him green, in the show. instead.
James,
With blue-
you're not funny with that.
I thought it was an odd move myself.
Oh my god.
I saw though that they were wanting Christian Bale to play Thrawn when I looked it up just now, and having just watched again Thor: Love and Thunder, like a couple days ago.
Does he play
And
Thor?
Christian Bale did so well with that.
Yeah.
He played the
No,
the
he
bad guy
plays-
who has the necro sword.
I think it's
called
pretty
a
weird that they've.
It's called a
that they've
necro
cast-
sword.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty weird that they cast Michael Cera as Thrawn, but well, I guess he'll probably do a pretty good job.
That was actually funny.
That would be pretty awesome. Or Jesse Eisenberg. Yeah.
Sounds Thrawn.
They already cast Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor at one point, so I think it'd be pretty similar type casting.
Are we done?
Franz and awkward Jesus. Awkward genius.
Jeez.
Star Wars Vision Season 2 this year.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah,
my
I'm
God. Although
There's so
Visions,
much.
Yes.
last year they dropped Visions all at once.
Right, which they probably will
So
do.
maybe
yeah.
they'll do that again.
But there's gonna be a bunch of animation studios that are not just Japanese this time around, which will be cool.
Like, okay.
Yeah, and that one isn't set. It's just for spring 2023.
Yeah, we're not getting Andor.
Oh, we're not gonna get Andor for another like 3 years.
2024.
Did they say 2024?
Yeah, and then
Wow.
Okay.
Tony Gilroy was like, well, they're shooting in 2023, and he says post-production takes the longest time, and he said, unless they are willing to put more money, it looks like not till 2024. So it sounded kind of like, yeah, they're not going to have the budget to push it for any sooner than like late 2024.
I really wonder when we'll ever be in theaters watching another Star Wars movie. Like, I wonder if I'll still be alive by the time that happens.
Anyway, I think I'm most excited for Star Wars Visions and Acolyte.
Oh my God, Acolyte's gonna be off the chain. I know it's not set during that timeline wise, but I
don't know
hope that
anything
they
about the
find-
timeline.
I believe it's towards the late side of the High Republic.
Okay.
So which means Avar Kriss is not going to be in the show. But I really wish that there was a way for them to either do flashbacks and give me a live action.
You just
Avar
want
Kriss.
Avar Kriss.
I fucking love
High
Avar
Republic.
Kriss.
You like
the
Avar
coolest.
Kriss, James?
She's the best.
James relates to Avar Kriss.
Yeah.
Avar Kriss is cool. I love that moment in the. I always think of her like in the field, like calling. What was she doing in the field? Was she either calling rain or she was coordinating the entire Jedi response to all the
Okay, wait.
the
Spoilers.
anomalies?
Spoilers.
Okay, yeah.
Just in
Yeah.
case.
Oh, so is
But
okay. Maybe I am confused.
but
about
she
what
thinks
it
of
is.
the Force as like a musical
Ah,
How
symphony.
James.
That's not a spoiler.
James, that is a spoiler. That would be a
That's like
spoiler to
saying-
me.
Spoiler.
Well,
That's
that would be
like
a
saying
spoiler
what
to me.
color someone's lightsaber is or something.
Okay,
No,
maybe.
that's not a spoiler.
Maybe.
That's just like
To
an-
me,
an
James, to
ability she
me,
has.
that would be a spoiler. If I had not read it and you told me that beforehand, I would be upset.
Okay. Well, I feel like that's
It's also one of my
an ex-
least favorite things about the book, is that fact.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Really?
one of my favorites.
Yes. We could
I
talk
like
more
it.
about it afterward. I encourage Christina to read the High Republic stuff as well.
I'm reading
And
it, and I have been
She likes Light of the
dragged by
Jedi
the
more
most
than me.
tragically slow thing because the I've only been able to read the first book
Because of the
and then
library.
a couple others, and then the books that I specifically need to read keep not being available,
Yeah. There's long
so I
wait
can't
lists.
read
do you
anything else
need?
after.
I
The
have a
Storm.
Storm.
second
Do you wanna borrow
one,
'em?
Rising Storm.
Okay,
actually
I
maybe
can just, I
so.
can just lend that to you.
Nice.
Do you like read, or do you want the audiobooks?
Yeah, I kind of need the audiobooks.
Okay.
Plus the Rising Storm. Plus the
Do
Rising.
you read?
Plus the Rising Storm audiobook has a piece of diegetic music in it.
I mean,
Oh,
I
nice.
gotta say, guys, I don't really enjoy that the cultural zeitgeist has moved to a point where we're using the verb read to also mean sitting down and having someone speak a book at you. I think that's like,
Well, I think we've just.
incorrect
I think there are just two.
usage.
I don't think that's incorrect usage. I just think the word read has bifurcated in meaning now, where you can use read in a more literal, mechanical way, or oftentimes when we
know.
talk about read, we just.
I know what has
just-
happened.
it's just
What
I
I'm
know.
saying
So,
is I
so I'm
think
saying it's not incorrect.
stupid.
It's just the language has evolved as it does.
Yeah, whatever. I just think it's like I think it's stupid. It's kind of
Well, I can
I like
it.
read from the way you're talking, from just from the way you're talking about that No, just as an example, the word read.
All
does mean
right,
so many
y'all.
things.
Anyway, I like
All right,
it.
y'all.
Some people.
Before we
I just went down and read a
go
book.
off on the
Oh really? You
semantics
did?
of the word
What I mean by
read.
read is I heard some dude read a book to me, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
I guess my nephew
James,
can read. You're
don't-
right. I guess my 1.5-year-old nephew can read already because I read a book to him when I'm there. I guess he can read, right?
Well,
That's
you're
accurate to say?
mangling the definitions on purpose. So
Well, if you're
We're cutting you
competing
off
with
now.
him about it,
yeah.
Wow, I can't believe you can read already because I sat down and read a book to you.
James?
Wow, amazing.
Oh my gosh.
I just love
I
reading.
think audiobooks are a
while
valid
I'm-
way of reading.
Well,
I think they are valid.
I think they're valid. I do think that there's different skills involved in reading different kinds of ways, and I think that's true. And I think that just listening to audiobooks, you wouldn't develop certain skills of reading. But I think some people, for example, aren't physically able to even read, and if they listen to an audiobook, I read a book, we're all able to discuss the same book. I would say, for the definition of read, like we both read it, it still counts.
I think it's
And yeah. Okay, we're gonna.
I have listen. This was not raising an issue with audiobooks. This is
I know.
raising an issue of the usage of the word read to
Yeah.
describe what you're doing when you're listening to an audiobook.
I gotcha. You want to say listen to books, which is
Yeah.
also true.
I think we should just go with perceived. I perceived a book.
I perceived a book.
Oh my gosh. Okay, maybe we'll have new maybe James, you can come up with a new word for
Yeah,
next
we
time.
look forward to it.
Yeah. All right. Thanks everyone for joining us for the stream. We'll be back in 3 weeks. Yeah, 3
Yep.
weeks to talk about the next 3 episodes. And yeah, a lot will happen between now and then. So we'll have a lot more. I don't know. Maybe there will be lots of interesting developments. Who knows? But yeah, keep an ear out for any themes. Maybe write them down if you want to remember them. By the time we stream, then we can talk about them. And
Get ready for the quiz because we're going
and
to
get
cover
ready for the
3
quiz.
episodes of quizzes.
and everyone will read the quizzes. We'll listen, we'll perceive the quiz,
We'll have
perceive
captions.
the music together.
We'll perceive the.
We'll perceive
perceive.
it all. All right. Okay.